Chosen one? Something just happened, and you almost missed it. In a quiet moment, in a decision that felt small, maybe even insignificant, you did something that heaven itself stopped to acknowledge. You didn't hear a sound, you didn't see a sign, but in that exact moment, your action was recorded in a way that carries more weight than you can imagine. What you thought was just another step, just another choice in a difficult situation, was actually a turning point. And the moment you made that decision, something shifted beyond what your eyes could see. This was not random. This was not overlooked. This was the moment everything began to move. You may not have felt powerful when you did it. In fact, you may have felt tired, uncertain, or even emotionally drained. But that is exactly why it mattered. Because you chose to act anyway. You chose to move forward when it would have been easier to stay still. You chose faith, even if your heart was heavy. And that single choice created a reaction that extended far beyond your current reality. Heaven recorded it, not because it was loud or impressive to the world, but because it was real, it was sincere, and it came from a place within you that refused to give up, right now. Something is already unfolding because of that moment. You may not see it yet. You may still feel like everything around you looks the same. But beneath the surface, something has already begun shifting into alignment. Doors that felt closed are being touched. Situations that felt stuck are beginning to loosen. And it all traces back to that one decision you made when you thought no one was watching. Stay with me, because what I am about to reveal next will help you understand why that moment carried so much power, and how what you did has already started changing the direction of your life in ways you are just beginning to feel. My child. What makes that moment so powerful is not just what you did, but what you were carrying when you did it. Because the truth is, you were not standing in a place of ease when you made that decision. You were tired, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. There were things weighing on your heart that no one around you fully understood. You had been dealing with silent battles, questions that never seemed to have clear answers, and moments where your strength felt like it was slowly fading. And yet, even in that state, you still chose to do what was right. You still chose to move forward, even when a part of you wanted to stop. There were thoughts in your mind that tried to pull you in the opposite direction. Doubt whispered to you. Fear tried to convince you to stay where you were. You questioned whether your effort even mattered, whether your actions would make any difference at all. And in that moment, you were faced with a choice that many people would have avoided. It would have been easier to give in, easier to react out of frustration, easier to choose what felt comfortable instead of what felt right. But you didn't. Even though your heart felt heavy, even though your strength felt limited, you made a decision that came from a deeper place within you. No one saw how difficult that moment truly was for you. From the outside, it may have looked simple, almost unnoticeable. But inside, it required strength that had been built through everything you had endured. You had been tested in ways that forced you to grow, even when you didn't want to. You had been placed in situations that stretched your patience, challenged your peace, and made you question your path. And still you held on. You did not allow those moments to turn you into something you are not. You did not let the pressure break your spirit. That is what made your action different. That is what made it powerful. You did not act perfectly. You did not feel completely confident. There may have been hesitation in your heart, uncertainty in your mind, and emotions that made it difficult to move forward. But what mattered was not perfection. What mattered was sincerity. You acted from a place that was real, even if it was fragile. You made a choice that reflected who you truly are, not what your circumstances tried to make you become. And that is something that carries weight beyond what you can measure. There were moments before this when you felt like your efforts were unnoticed. You wondered if anyone truly saw the struggle behind your silence, the effort behind your patience, the strength it took for you to keep going when everything felt uncertain. You may have even questioned if your actions mattered at all. But what you did not realize is that every moment was building toward this one. Every time you chose to keep your heart steady, every time you resisted becoming bitter, every time you held on to your values even when it was difficult, it was all preparing you for the decision you just made. That is why this moment was recorded. Not because it was perfect, but because it was the result of everything you have been through. It was the evidence that your faith, your strength, and your growth are real. Even when you felt like you were barely holding on, you still chose the path that aligned with who you are meant to be. And that choice, made in a moment of quiet struggle, carried more power than you can currently see. My child, the moment you made that decision, something shifted instantly in the unseen. It did not wait, it did not delay, and it did not go unnoticed. The very second you chose faith over fear, something began to move in ways that your eyes cannot yet fully recognize. What felt like a quiet action in your life created a response far beyond your surroundings. It was as if a door that had been waiting for the right moment finally opened. What was once still began to move. What felt blocked began to loosen. And what seemed distant began drawing closer, even if you cannot see it yet. This is how a true spiritual shift works. It does not always arrive with noise or sudden change that you can immediately point to. Instead, it begins quietly, beneath the surface, arranging things in ways that feel invisible at first. The decision you made sent a signal that your spirit is aligned with something greater. And because of that alignment, heaven responded. Not in a distant way, but in a way that immediately began adjusting what is connected to your path. People, situations, and outcomes are now being influenced by that moment. Even if everything still looks the same around you, there are things that were once delayed that are now beginning to move forward. There were doors that seemed closed, not because they were meant to stay closed, but because the timing was not yet aligned. And that moment you created with your decision was the shift in timing that was needed. It was the point where everything began to realign. You may not notice it immediately, but changes are already forming. Something that once felt out of reach is quietly being brought closer. Something that felt uncertain is slowly becoming clearer. These are not coincidences. They are the result of the shift you triggered. What makes this even more powerful is that it is not limited to one area of your life. The shift is spreading. It is touching things you have been worried about, things you have prayed for, and even things you may have already started to lose hope in. The energy that surrounded those situations is changing. What once felt heavy is beginning to feel lighter. What once felt confusing is beginning to settle into clarity. You may not have full understanding yet, but you will begin to feel the difference. There will be moments when something inside you feels calm without explanation, when your thoughts feel quieter, and when your heart no longer carries the same weight. These are signs that the shift is already taking effect. Even the things you cannot see are being arranged. There are conversations that will happen at the right time, opportunities that will appear when you least expect them, and people who will enter your life in alignment with where you are being guided. All of this is connected to that one moment when you chose to act differently. That is the power of alignment. It does not just change one thing. It begins to influence everything connected to your path. You may still look around and wonder why everything appears the same, why the results are not immediately visible. But understand this clearly, the shift has already happened. The process has already begun. Just because you cannot see the full picture yet does not mean that nothing is happening. In fact, the most important movements are the ones you cannot see. They are the ones being prepared carefully, step by step, so that when they appear, they arrive in the right way. Type 111 if you can feel that something is changing, even if you cannot fully explain it. Because what you triggered was not small. It was a realignment that is now shaping the direction of your life, and this is only the beginning of what is about to unfold around you. My child, as this shift continues to unfold, you will begin to notice changes entering your life in ways that feel subtle at first, but deeply real. It will not always come as something sudden or overwhelming. Instead, it will arrive quietly, almost gently, as if your life is being adjusted piece by piece. One of the first things you may notice is a sense of peace beginning to replace the tension you once carried. Situations that used to make your mind restless will start to feel less heavy. Thoughts that once circled endlessly will begin to settle. You may not even realize when it starts happening, but over time, you will feel that something inside you is becoming calmer, more stable, more certain. At the same time, things around you will begin to shift as well. What once felt stuck will slowly start to move. Delays that frustrated you will begin to clear. Opportunities that once seemed distant or unreachable may start to appear in ways you did not expect. These moments will not feel forced. They will come naturally, almost as if they were always meant to arrive at this exact time. That is how you will recognize that this is part of the shift. It will not feel chaotic or confusing. It will feel aligned. You may also notice changes in the people around you. Some will begin to drift away, not because of conflict, but because they are no longer aligned with the direction you are moving in. Others may enter your life in ways that feel different from what you are used to. These new connections will not carry the same uncertainty or imbalance. Instead, they will feel steady, supportive, and clear. This is another sign that your path is being adjusted. You are no longer being surrounded by what drains you, but by what adds to your growth. There will be moments when you receive unexpected help, when something works out in your favor without you forcing it, or when a situation resolves itself in a way that feels almost surprising. These are not random events. They are part of what was set into motion when you made that decision. The shift you triggered is now influencing your environment, creating space for things to flow in a way that supports you instead of working against you. You may also begin to see clarity where there was once confusion. Questions that once filled your mind will start to fade as understanding naturally takes their place. You will no longer feel the need to search for answers in the same way. Instead, you will feel a quiet knowing that you are moving in the right direction. This is one of the strongest signs that the shift is real. When your inner state begins to change, everything around you starts to follow. Trust that what is happening is leading you exactly where you need to be. Even if you cannot yet see the full result, you are already experiencing the beginning of it. Every small change, every moment of peace, every new opportunity is a sign that something greater is unfolding. You are no longer standing in the same place you once were. You are moving forward, guided by something that is working beyond what you can see, shaping your path step by step into something that will soon become clear. My beloved child, as you stand in this moment, I want you to truly understand the depth of what has taken place. Because this is not just about a single decision you made. This is about who you are becoming and the path that is now opening before you. That moment when you chose to act, even while carrying doubt, even while feeling uncertain, was more than just a step forward. It was a declaration. It was the moment your spirit aligned with something greater. And that alignment is now shaping everything that comes next in your life. You may not have seen it that way at the time, but now you are beginning to feel the effects of it. Even if they are still unfolding slowly, you are no longer standing in the same energy you were before. Something within you has shifted. Your perspective is changing, your reactions are different, and your heart is beginning to feel lighter in ways that cannot be explained by your circumstances alone. That is because this shift is not only external, it is happening within you as well. You are being transformed into a version of yourself that is stronger, more aware, and more aligned with your purpose. And that transformation is the foundation for everything that is now entering your life. There will be moments when you look back and realize how much has already changed. Things that once felt overwhelming will no longer have the same effect on you. Situations that once caused confusion will begin to make sense without effort. You will notice that you are no longer reacting in the same way, no longer holding on to things that once consumed your thoughts. This is not something you forced. It is something that is happening naturally as a result of the shift you triggered. You may also begin to recognize that what is coming into your life feels different from what you experienced before. The opportunities, the people, the moments, they will not carry the same uncertainty or imbalance. Instead, they will feel aligned as if they fit into your life without struggle. This is how you will know that you are moving in the right direction. What is meant for you will not confuse you. It will not drain you. It will support you, strengthen you, and bring a sense of clarity that you did not have before. Do not be surprised if you begin to feel a sense of gratitude, even for the things that once felt difficult. There will come a moment when you understand why everything had to happen the way it did. You will see how every challenge, every delay, every moment of uncertainty was leading you to this point. And when that realization comes, it will not bring pain. It will bring peace. Because you will understand that nothing was wasted. Everything was part of a process that brought you closer to where you are meant to be. As you move forward, keep your heart open, but your spirit grounded. Trust what you feel when something is aligned, and do not ignore the quiet sense of peace that now guides you. That is the result of the shift that began when you chose to act in alignment with your truth. You did not just make a decision. You activated something that is now unfolding in ways that will continue to reveal themselves over time. Type Amen if you are ready to receive everything that is now being prepared for you. Type 777 if you trust that this shift is leading you exactly where you are meant to be. Because what you did in a quiet moment was never small. It was powerful. And it has already begun shaping a future that will reflect the strength, the faith, and the courage you carried when it mattered most.